Alright everyone, Country here this morning. Got a few little jobs I'm doing. I'm having to catch up on some of my knife making and all people. And I'm just going to show you just some quick parts of the video. I won't be boring you with all the other stuff, but show you the first thing I got here is this is an old machete. As you can see, they sharpened it and sharpened it and sharpened it to where there's nothing left up here, hardly anymore. So it's so wobbly. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this down into a smaller version. Pretty good Bushcraft knife, and you see the old handle on it ain't no good, so we'll put a new handle on it. Then we're going to make a sheath for it, make it where somebody can start using it again. It is a really good piece of steel. So, let's stick around and see what all I'm going to do on this. Alright, remove the old handle, and all I did was just took the grinder, run down it, cut the rivets, cut the old handle off of it. I'm going to continue to clean that up because the way I'm planning on doing this handle is it's going to have a little epoxy on there. It's not going to be all friction fit, so that's just going to help the epoxy stick to it. Alright. Let me cut the blade out. Okay, what I've done here is, see that's all cleaned up, all shiny. Shorten it down, make it more of a useful size. Cleaned it all up. As you can see, I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's an old Collins. And I just left that on there for nostalgia. Could have ground it off, but it'd kind of weaken it in that area if I did, so I'm gonna leave it on there. Just kind of looks good. So let me see what I can find for a handle. I'll be right back. What I did for a handle is I'm cutting the side walls out of an old tire. Now using my little angle grinder there to get me started, and then I finished it out down with my Leatherman and just cut slabs like that. So the next thing I do is to get those cleaned up and get them where they'll stick together, and we'll epoxy them together and epoxy them to the handle of the blade, and then we'll straighten all that up. So let me do that and I'll be back. What I done was I just went in the house and used some hot water and some dish soap and scrubbed up with a green pad and kind of clean them up a little bit and get some of the dirt off, make them stick. Let me figure out what I'm going to do here. I'm going to do this then, and we'll be back. And doubled the pieces here, as you can see, on each side. And epoxied the pieces together, and then epoxied the pieces to the metal, and then I clamped it. And it's 5-minute epoxy, so all I'm doing now is just playing a waiting game. But that's where I'm at so far on that. And then after I epoxy it, of course, I'm going to pin it. It has to have a mechanical attachment in some way. So I'll be finding something to use for pins. That's it for now. We're just waiting. Epoxy to dry. I had another one here that I wanted to work on, and the handle on it was really good, and I don't know who the maker of this is, but it is a Damascus steel, and it's really hard. It's a really good steel. It's just the point was sharpened down so much, and it was so long you really couldn't use it for anything practical anymore. This appears to be palm wood because it kind of smells that way when I'm sanding on it. So this could be one made in Asia or Philippines or somewhere. And it's a really good steel. And I noticed on the back here there is some initials. JP. I don't know who that is, but I'm going to leave that there. Another thing I leave for just nostalgia. So, there's one. While I'm waiting on that one to dry. So I'm fixing to check it and see, and I'll be right back. What I got here while I'm waiting on epoxy to dry is this is the black pipe they used to use for water pipe until they realized it wasn't no good for water pipe. It would poison you, so all it's good for now is projects like this and sewer pipe. But it cut me off a length I need for this would be the blade, and then have a little piece coming up the handle then, and then it bends over and goes back, and then it ties over here. So you see, I measured that out, so that's what we're doing. Then I measure off where half of this pipe will be cut out right here, and this part will be heated up and mashed flat, which I will show you how to do that. I showed you in one of my other videos how to do that. But we're going to mash this flat, and that's going to be the sheath, and this part right here where it's half will be your belt loop. So that's what I'm working on while I'm waiting on epoxy to dry. So there we go. I just clamped it up there, cut it out with my little hand grinder, and you can cut that out with anything you want to. And then all the little edges on it, then I run my Leatherman down it and cleaned up the edges, and that's pretty much ready for me to go clean it up, wash it up and everything. And then you'll see me later heat that up and form it to a knife. What I didn't show you earlier on camera is I had to make 3 of these, and this was an earlier knife that I made in an earlier video that you can go watch. But it's going to be the sheath for it, and so I'm working on that one, and I've cleaned this all out. So that's the important thing, is to get all of this clean, very clean. I'm going to be heating this up with a heat gun, and I'll be clamping it together. I'll show you how all that works. So let me get all set up for that. What I'm doing now is I've heated it up some and got it started going flat, and I put it between these boards and just put my hands on it and mash it down and wait. So that's where I'm at now. Okay, got that all flattened out. The part that's going to be going around the belt, and I've made a little mark right here. That's where I'm going to bend it and bend it back over to it here. And the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to heat it up again and put the knife in there and clamp it together and let it cool so it shapes to the knife. So what you got to remember about this stuff is, though, you don't try to heat it all up and try to do all of it at one time. You have to do a little bit at a time with this. It's just the way the PVC works. Plus, this plastic has a memory. It always tries to come back to that original shape, too. So, just takes a little time. Back and forth. What I'm doing is, I'm just heating a little bit. A little area where I need to go, and bending it and shaping it and clamping it and using the boards to press it. And just take your time. Eventually you get it like you want it. And so, the sheaths aren't that hard to make. None of this is hard to do. But there's still a little more to do on this. So, I'll keep showing you what I'm doing here. Okay, so there's that sheath made for this Bushcraft knife that I made earlier in one of my earlier videos. And I just took paracord right there, and I drilled 4 holes back here, laced it through, and tied it around. Now you got some extra paracord on there if you should need paracord. So this is the one I promised you I was going to put pictures of in the comments on that making of that knife, so I'm going to do that. And this is the finished product. So now on to the others, because I'm still waiting on my epoxy to dry. Supposed to have been 5-minute epoxy, but it don't seem to want to harden up. Maybe I didn't use enough hardener, I don't know, but I just give it time, let it harden up, and we'll see how the handle works on that one. Okay, here's where I'm at now. That epoxy took longer than 5 minutes to dry, like I said. Now what I've started doing is I sawed some of that excess rubber off, and I'm trimming it down kind of close with my pocket knife. Then I'll probably take the angle grinder and straighten it all up and make it look good. I just want to get some of the bulk of it off before I do that. And that's what this looks like so far. So let me get this worked down, then I'll show you some more of it. Alright, trimmed it down with my pocket knife. A little more manageable. I can shape the rest of that up with the grinder. When I get out, work on the blade and all. That's what that's looking like so far. And here's the other ones that's all completed. The other sheath, that is. And then I make mine in a way, like right there. When I heat it, I squeeze it. Make it where it pinches the blade, so you can shove it in, it gets held real tight, it don't rattle, don't come out. So that's this one, and the other one. There it is. The handle's all shaped up. And I just shaped it up with my little angle grinder and washed it off. But that is it. So, you've seen how I make the sheaths, and so that's about that. Till I see y'all next time. That's all I got this time. Subscribe to my channel, like, share my videos, click the little notification bell. You know the deal. Till I see y'all next time. This is about all I got this time.